Righty. So for the record, my name is Mark Herman. I'm the elected constable here at Precinct 4. Today I want to speak about this guy. Go ahead and put his picture up. This gentleman, Brian Blaine, last Friday, my office received a complaint from a parent that she has a 13-year-old female child that went to her parent about this individual allegedly sending explicit messages to her over her phone. And we took a police report, launched a criminal investigation, and our undercover units took over her phone and began having a verbal dialogue with this individual where he agreed to have sex with her and basically was in the process of grooming this 13-year-old child. This individual agreed with our undercover officers to meet them on Friday evening at a local elementary school. When he showed up, he was quickly arrested at the school in the parking lot. Currently, he is in jail. We filed on him Friday for online solicitation of a minor. He is in under a $200,000 bond. We do feel possibly, because according to our 13-year-old complainant, she was with a group of friends in the Grogan Mill Villages subdivision, which is actually in Montgomery County, when she met this individual. Her and a group of girls were walking down the street. This guy approaches them. They start having dialogue. According to the other kids, this individual is known as the Candy Man in that subdivision because he's always giving candy out to kids and talking to kids, and kids are always hanging out at his house. Being that is in Montgomery County, I have spoke with Constable Ryan Gable. This is going to be a joint department investigation with our office and his office, because apparently some of these other kids that have been around this individual are going to need to be interviewed, and they're going to, we need to try to determine if there's any other illegal activities going on with this man and the kids up in Montgomery County. Our victim lives here in Harris County, which is where she reported it. The online solicitation took place again on Friday here in Harris County, and he was quickly arrested. We are asking if there are any other potential victims out there, or you're a parent and your kids come to you saying that they've had interactions with this guy of information that we need to know. You can contact my office, Lieutenant Jeff Lee, at 832-927-6158. We'll continue that processing, and Constable Ryan Gable's office, Lieutenant Lee can put y'all in touch with the folks up there that we're also working with if there's any cases in the Montgomery County area.
Where's he from?
He lives in the Woodlands. Yeah, he lives in the Woodlands in the Grogan Mill Villages subdivision. It's a pretty good sized subdivision.
Do we know what he does for a living?
I do not know. I think he may be retired because he has a lot of time on his hands. I was told some of the messaging, which I'm not going to share with you today because it's just repulsive. And but just from what I feel, I believe he's retired, and he lives up there.
So clear this up for us just to make sure.
Sure.
So you said that he approached this young girl with a group of other young people, and so how was he able to interact with her online?
Well, he went the days preceding Friday, her and some girls were in that subdivision, and he approached them, started talking to them. Some of the girls clearly knew him. She felt comfortable enough to give him her information, her accounts, and to start having dialogue with him. And now, again, the context of it, how he did it, I'm not going to get into the investigation, but clearly he groomed her and got an opportunity, and then on Friday tried to exploit that opportunity, and justice was waiting when he arrived.
So she gave him access. She gave him social media accounts.
Yep. She gave the access.
And you name which platform?
I'd rather not. Yeah, I'd rather not.
And you said he was known as a person who was friendly with children.
Yep,
So-
he is known in that community, according to our complainant, as the Candy Man in that particular subdivision. And, you know, we feel confident that once this story gets out, people will see him, his picture, and there will be more people coming forward, you know, with possible more criminal activity with him. That's how in he was with the kids in that community.
Does he have a criminal history?
I do not know. He,
Any common denominator in the victims?
no, but most of the kids that he is hanging around with in that subdivision were her age. And there were some things said in the messaging about younger kids and about, you know, lowest he would go was 12 years old. You know, and you know, again, this is a sick guy. And, you know, he's got I was happy to see the $200,000 bond. More importantly, I was happy to get him identified and get him off our streets. And, you know, but I will say this, the parent and victim in this case clearly had a good relationship. And any kids out there that has something like this happen, go to your parents. You know, and if you're a parent out there, always monitor your kids' social media, you know, and their phones. It's just a good thing in this day and time, but in just looking at this case, this individual here was clearly grooming this young, you know, 13-year-old girl.
So it was predominantly female?
Mhm.
Females that he was
Yes.
Can you tell us which school the proposed meetup was at?
I'm not sure. It was one of the elementary schools in our North Central District. But the school, you know, the day of this event, we did notify the school. They were put on a brief lockdown while we operated the operation there. Parents have all been notified about it. They were notified after the fact. And no kid was ever in danger, because where they actually met was kind of away from the school, but on the school grounds.
So
Did he pretend to be younger, like a teenager?
Nope,
too?
she knew exactly, she met this guy. She met this guy in the subdivision in the days preceding, and with her other friends she was within this subdivision.
And so the minute he decided to make this meetup, that's when she and her family contacted you?
Well, he was messaging her some things before we even got involved, which made her feel very uncomfortable. And it made the 13-year-old go to her parent. And once her parent saw some of this stuff, she immediately contacted our office. We went out and took a report and immediately mobilized our investigative unit. Patrol went to the location. It was a patrol call, patrol deputies. And our undercover folks and CID went out there and basically handled it from there and just started talking to him on the phone and stuff like that. And then he came out and thought he was meeting with her, but it was us.
So was the sting operation, was it set up to be looking like it was that victim, or was
Yep.
it another?
Yeah, he clearly thought it was the victim. And please understand, our folks that do this, and Constable Gable has a great team up there do the same thing. They're trained. They have specific guidelines and policies they've got to follow when they speak to these suspects online. Everything met the criteria, but he sincerely felt it was the 13-year-old girl that he had been talking to. And you know, it worked out for us. And again, just to get him off the streets and, you know, get him arrested is a good thing for our communities.
So the initial contact, he messaged her?
I'm sorry?
The initial contact?
Yes.
He messaged her,
Yes.
and you guys took over?
Yes. Yeah, there were several back and forth before we ever got involved. But he was clearly, just from what the investigators have told me, he was grooming her, and he thought he had her to the point where he could literally meet and have sex with her, because that's what their agreement was. And when we arrested him.
Constable, your law enforcement as well as others in the area have a lot more technology, a lot more resources to catch these guys. What would your message be to anyone else who decides to even try to do something like that?
Well, you know, first of all, nothing surprises me in this day and time. You know, it's against the law to do that, first of all, and morals and ethics, I mean, that comes later. But this guy here is clearly a threat to our kids. And I tell our kids, if you don't know an adult, just because somebody vouches for him and says, hey, he's a good guy or he's a friend, clearly in this case, our 13-year-old victim felt uncomfortable enough to go to her parent. I think communications, having a relationship with your kids, keeping tabs on your kids, is as in this case, is what made this possible, if that makes sense.
Do you
So-
think that we seem to be covering stories like this so much lately? Do you think it's a matter of more people attempting to do these things, or the technology catching them a lot?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. And understand, the more of anything you have, the more people, the more problems you're going to have. That's just the way it is. But I think it's a little bit of both. But we do have certain technologies, and we have certain things that we would never reveal. But our biggest way to counteract this is through the people we serve. And the people we serve felt confident enough to come to us and us to bring this to conclusion. But now, and what we need your outlets for is to get this guy's face and name out there in the subdivision he lived in. And if your kids was going to this guy's house frequently, we want to hear from you. We want to talk to your kids at this point. And that would be Constable Gable and his team, because it's in Montgomery County, but just to ensure there was no other illegal activities going on.
Other than the kids hanging out at his house, do you have any evidence of any other victims at this time?
We have no evidence of any other victims at this point. But I can tell you, in doing this 40 years, a leopard never changes its spots. And I would feel better knowing, and we've got the other kids identified, and we're working with Constable Gable's folks up there to get out and talk to these kids regardless. But there may have been some other kids that know this guy and been around him, and some things could have happened, and we want to hear from you, if that's the case.
Some serious charges. What could he be facing?
Oh, he could be facing a long time in jail, up to 99 years. But he's 65 years old. I'm almost positive he is retired, and he has nothing to do but sit back and think and scheme and figure out how to manipulate our kids, and again, that's where, our parents and law enforcement come in to stop it. So, all right, any other questions? Okay, we're gonna blast a media release out to all your outlets. We'll have an electronic picture of him that we'll send to your outlets. And are there any other questions on anything?
We have something on, any updates on the Westlake Houston Parkway shooting?
You were Channel 2?
Yes.
I'm thinking to myself, why is Channel 2 wanting to know about that? But no, I was briefed on that. Actually, I got the call over the weekend. That was a situation where one of our deputies was off duty with his wife in a vehicle. They were getting gas. He reached in his bag, was trying to find his credit card, and appears he had a gun in the bag and put his finger in the trigger and pulled the trigger of the gun and shot himself through the hand, and then it went through his wife's hand, the way it was positioned. But actually, one of our investigators, because before I came in, I said, I got to know if there was anything, more to this. And the female is still at the hospital. She's in the hospital, and she basically corroborated, because that night they put her on medication, and she was kind of in and out, so we didn't get to interview her, but we just interviewed her at 10 this morning, and all appearances show that it was an accidental discharge of the weapon. And the gun's still being analyzed. We've got some testing to do on it. Actually, the deputy is coming back to work today because his injury wasn't that bad. I think it just grazed his hand, but he'll be back today, and we ended up loaning him a gun because I still have his other gun because we're analyzing it. And once the testing's done with that, we'll come to a conclusion on that. But right now, for all intents and purposes, it's an accidental discharge of a weapon. And we'll handle certain things with the employee administratively on what he could or couldn't have done better. And but that's just part of the process.